It's a good day to be MAGA. It's a good day to be Mel Gibson. We killed two birds with one stone today. Because today, or whenever this happened, pretty sure this was today. Well, this article's from today. Um, I don't know when this exactly came down the pipeline, but Mel Gibson, our boy, our guy, good old Uncle Mel, he got his gun rights back. Not only did he get his gun rights back, but a DOJ official says she was fired because she opposed it. So, suck it. Shout out to NBC News. Gibson, a supporter of Trump, lost his right to purchase or own a handgun after a 2011 domestic violence misdemeanor conviction. Yeah, we all remember that. Let's scroll down. Okay, yeah, here we go. By shout out to Sarah Fitzpatrick and Ken Delenian. And you guys all know how much of a pet peeve it is of mine whenever articles are written by multiple people. The former U.S. pardoned attorney Elizabeth G. Oyer. G. Oyer. Goyer. Was terminated Friday after she opposed restoring actor Mel Gibson's rights to carry a gun. Her spokesperson and two Justice Department officials familiar with the matter told NBC News. A spokesperson for Oyer said that she was not told why she was terminated, but that because of the sequence of events, she believes her refusal to carry out a request from officials in the Deputy Attorney General's office to add Gibson's name to a list of people to have their gun rights restored may have played a role. Gibson, a supporter of President Donald Trump, lost his gun rights after a 2011 domestic violence misdemeanor conviction. And like I said, we all remember that. I can't remember if that was the same instance where, the recording of him screaming on the phone or screaming, you will come over here and blow me, that shit. I don't know if those two things are related, but I just know that Mel Gibson was having a bad time about 15 years ago. He was going through it. In a statement to NBC News, Oyer described a climate of fear within the Justice Department. I like the sound of that. Let's read on. Quote, unfortunately, experienced professionals throughout the department are afraid to voice their opinions because dissent is being punished, she said. Decisions are being made based on relationships and loyalty, not based on facts or expertise or sound analysis, which is very alarming given what is at stake in our public safety. And you're going to sit there with a straight face and tell me, first of all, I'm not even convinced that the facts are not on the side of Mel Gibson and the Trump DOJ right now. I'm not convinced of that. But are you telling me that during your time at the DOJ, under the Biden administration, that there were no favors given out in direct contravention to the law? Did you, Ms. Oyer, in any way, you probably weren't involved, fine, but did you in any way speak up or try to oppose the complete blanket fucking pardoning of Hunter Biden or the weaponization of federal law enforcement against Republicans and right-wingers and Trump supporters? And no, you didn't. You didn't. You sat there quietly with your thumb up your ass, and now you want to try to act like this is beyond the pale when you were perfectly content for stuff like this to happen when it was your team. The New York Times first reported the apparent reason for Oyer's termination. A Justice Department official familiar with the matter told NBC News that Oyer's firing was not related to the Gibson case. The Mel Gibson decision did not play a role in the termination decision, said the official who spoke on the condition of anonymity. The paperwork was done before the Mel Gibson email went out. Oh, well, it's either way. I'm glad this person was fired because the DOJ needs the DOJ, like every other department in the United States government, needs to needs the fat to be trimmed. And I guarantee this Oyer lady, what was her name again? Elizabeth Oyer. Her job probably wasn't that important. Let's be honest here. But a second senior Justice Department official who was not authorized to speak publicly said Oyer's ouster is part of a very concerning set of personal moves across the federal government at the Department of Justice. Shut up. In which officials who might act as checks on abuse of power were being ousted. Yes. If you people were there to stop abuses of power. Why didn't you stop the Biden administration from abusing power? Big funk. Quote, I don't know much of what happened to Liz was a failure to toe the line about a specific thing, the Justice Department official said, but systemically, the political leadership of this administration is doing their best to take away the institutional guardrails. Guardrails that were not being used at all for Biden, period. End of story, and we all know it. Shortly after Trump took office, the new leadership at the Justice Department, including the officials of the Solicitor General and the Deputy Attorney General, indicated that restoring gun rights to previously convicted felons was a top priority. Federal law bars people convicted of crimes, including misdemeanor state domestic violence, from owning or purchasing handguns. A senior Justice Department official questioned the decision. Quote, the fact that this was the number one thing they wanted to address was bizarre, said the official, who asked not to be named. Because, of course, they didn't. Of course they didn't. You know, multiple sources familiar with the matter said there have been ongoing meetings with senior Justice Department attorneys from the Deputy Attorney General's office, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the Criminal Division, and the Pardon Attorney's Office in recent weeks about the issue. Oyer was one of the people assigned to the working group. It was led by Paul Perkins of the Deputy Attorney General's office and James McHenry, the acting Attorney General, two sources familiar with the effort said. Since the early 90s, an appropriations restriction has prohibited ATF from exercising its authority to restore gun rights. A DOJ official told NBC News that restoring convicted criminals' gun rights endangers people. Like, are we giving violent felons their gun rights back, or is it just due to, like, committed a misdemeanor, 15, 20 years ago, and, have not been violent before or since then, who had, like, one, who, made one mistake? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a constitutionally protected right for a reason. Even, drunk people. Sorry, Mel, but, we all remember how drunk you were back then. But still, people fuck up. Where was I? Here it is. The DOJ official told NBC News that down here. Quote, for 30 years since, Congress has kept that restriction because individuals who had their firearm rights restored would use firearms in crimes, the official said. Now the administration sees this statute as a way to effectively usurp the Gun Control Act to give guns back to people who they like or to whoever else is politically expedient. I need to know, like, it was a misdemeanor what happened to Mel Gibson. So I need one good reason why Mel Gibson's Second Amendment rights should be taken away. One. I need to hear one, because you guys aren't giving me any. You're just saying he shouldn't have it because he was convicted of a misdemeanor. I've been convicted of a misdemeanor. I still get to keep my guns. And when I buy guns brand new, pass a background check, lickety split, not a problem. Why is Mel Gibson any different from me? No system has been set up to review and approve gun rights restoration applications, but there have been talks to have the Attorney General immediately begin restoring rights to a preset list of people in the meantime, two law enforcement officials familiar with the matter said. This is Elizabeth Goyer. This is the lady who got fired. Would multiple sources said they were instructed to find a way to restore gun rights to entire classes of previously convicted people. Because ATF is technically prohibited from processing such requests, the plan was to give the authority to the pardon attorney and for there to be a semi-automated process. That was in stark contrast to how the pardon office normally works, which is by evaluating each application case by case and making recommendations. At some point, there was a debate among the group about domestic violence offenders. Oyer expressed, quote unquote, real concerns about authorizing access to offenders with histories of domestic violence, including misdemeanor domestic violence, sources said. Okay, let's take the domestic violence. That just means, like, this idea that he did something violent towards his wife, not necessarily even hit her. I don't even remember exactly what happened. So, fact check me on that. I don't know. Did he hit her? I don't know. Okay. But, like, let's say that I go out and I go drinking at a bar and I get into a bar fight. And then me and the guy I get into a bar fight with, we get convicted of misdemeanor criminal mischief or misdemeanor. We both catch, like, misdemeanor battery or something like that on each other. Do we now deserve to have our gun rights taken away? Hmm. Hmm. Because of one misdemeanor, one tiny mistake, we lose an entire constitutionally protected right, an entire God-given right? I don't think so. Oyer's office submitted to the offices of the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General a list of 95 people who had already been vetted for potential clemency, whom she recommended for possible gun right restoration because the risk of recidivism appeared low, like with Mel Gibson. All of them had been convicted of nonviolent crimes and had not committed additional crimes. Oh well, I guess because it was a domestic, it was a domestic thing. Domestic abuse. Technically is a violent misdemeanor. So by her reckoning, he doesn't deserve to have his gun rights back. Officials in the office of Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche cut the number from 95 to 9. Damn, it's like 90% of the people on the list. Oyer was then asked to submit a draft memo recommending that those 9 people get their gun rights back, which she submitted Thursday, according to 2 sources familiar with the matter. After she submitted the draft, Oyer was asked to add Gibson's name to the list, according to her spokesperson, another person familiar with the events, and another person familiar with the events. Oyer was also sent a letter that Gibson's attorney had sent asking Justice Department's officials for his gun rights to be restored. Oyer responded to the requested email saying she could not recommend to the Attorney General that Gibson's gun rights be restored based on the available information, Oyer's spokesperson told NBC News. Within a few hours, she got a call from an official working in the Deputy Attorney General's office who had been involved in the working group. She was asked whether her position was flexible, to which she responded it was not. Oyer was then, according to her spokesperson, told that Mel Gibson is a friend of the president and that should be justification enough. No, I think the Constitution of the United States of America is justification enough. Thank you very much. Over the 15-minute conversation, the official quickly became very aggressive and the tone, quote, approached the line of bullying, the spokesperson said, adding that no specific threats were made. Oh, fuck off. Bullying. She got bullied. Oh, God. On Friday morning, Oyer submitted a second draft memo, or one that sought to summarize the available information and not make any recommendations to the Attorney General. She relayed the sequence of events to colleagues, telling one, I really think Mel Gibson is going to be my downfall. Look what happened. Within a few hours, Oyer got a call from her staff informing her that security was at her office. She was handed her termination letter and escorted out of the building by 2 security guards, multiple sources told NBC News. A Justice Department official said Oyer's termination reflects, quote, how scared people are to speak up within the DOJ right now, even if you even dissent, you're out. Good. That's a good thing. Like, you can't sit there and say that because a man committed one misdemeanor 15 years ago, he's never allowed to own a gun again. That's stupid. Again, people make mistakes. He is not a recidivist. He was not a career criminal, like a consistent criminal before 2011. As far as I know, he hasn't committed any crimes since then. I honestly think this is the other way around. I don't think it's that you don't want to give, like, it's not that you think that the president just wants him to have his gun rights back because he's the president's friend. You don't want to give him his gun rights back because he's the president's friend. That's what I think. And look what happened to you. You got fucking fired over it. Possibly. Allegedly. Who knows? Sources are mixed. Apparently, she was already on the way out, according to that one guy. So, maybe she was just part of the, trimming of the fat that's going on at the DOJ right now. Pam Bondi was already all like, fire this bitch, before the Mel Gibson thing already happened. So, who knows? But anyway, good on Mel Gibson. Good for him. He's getting his gun rights back. Cause to celebrate, or at least cause to celebrate for him. Like I said, Mel's one of our guys. Mel's a good dude. I like Mel. God bless Mel Gibson. Anyway, if you like the video, hit the thumb or hit the like button. You know the drill. And follow the links and follow me on X. And if I ever start streaming video games again, I promise, which I will do that again soon. Come watch those on Rumble. And yeah, comment, do all the algorithm stuff for me. If you got a bone, throw it at me.